Phil Mickelson has spent months disappearing from the places where golf fans expected to see him, but one photograph of his wife may have created a bigger question than anything on the course. Amy Mickelson was photographed during a grocery run in San Diego with her daughter, Amanda. There was no confrontation, statement, or lawyer before cameras. There was only one detail. Her wedding ring was missing. Normally, that might mean nothing. People remove rings for countless reasons. A photograph captures a second, not an entire marriage. But these are not normal circumstances, because Amy's bare ring finger appeared as Phil Mickelson entered one of the most damaging stretches of scrutiny of his career. Allegations followed him away from the course. His name disappeared from major fields. His public appearances nearly vanished, and the man who once controlled every room with a smile suddenly allowed silence to speak for him. Now the attention has shifted from Phil's absence to Amy's. And that changes the story. To understand why one missing ring triggered so much speculation, rewind to early 2026. Phil announced that he and Amy needed to be present for a private family health matter. He stepped away from live golf events and later extended that absence. What initially sounded temporary became something much larger. He missed the Masters, the PGA Championship, the US Open, and the Open Championship. For the first time in his professional career, Phil Mickelson was set to miss all 4 majors in the same year. That alone would have raised questions, but then the off-course allegations began. Golf Digest reported that Mickelson was no longer a member of the Farms Golf Club near San Diego after a female employee accused him of inappropriate and non-consensual physical contact. The employee did not speak publicly, and Mickelson did not personally address the accusation. His representative said any misunderstanding had been cleared up, while his attorney later said he had resigned from the club. Then another report widened the controversy. Scratch investigation included allegations about Mickelson's behavior at multiple private clubs and revived a claim involving Ashley Perez, the former wife of professional golfer Pat Perez. She alleged that in 2015 Mickelson showed her an explicit photograph and propositioned her while they were staying at his New Jersey property. Mickelson's representatives pushed back. Aggressively, they denied that he had ever been expelled from a golf club. They accused the report of building a sensational narrative through anonymous sourcing. They said some claims were false, while others revisited mistakes already acknowledged privately or publicly. They also argued that Phil's willingness to apologize should not be treated as an admission of every allegation made against him. That distinction matters. These remain allegations, several disputed. No public finding proves the full picture presented by any one report. But public opinion does not wait for complete evidence. Stories grow through fragments: a club departure, a withdrawn tournament entry, a statement from a representative, a missing wedding. Rings, each fragment becomes more powerful when it appears to connect to the next. And Amy Mickelson is not a random figure being pulled into Phil's story. For decades, she has been part of the image surrounding him. She was there through major victories, crushing defeats, and family celebrations. When Amy was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2009, Phil stepped away from competition to be with her. Their relationship became part of his public identity. Phil was not only lefty, the fearless gambler with impossible recovery shots. He was also the husband and father whose family appeared beside the trophy. That is why the latest photograph carries weight that it might not carry for another couple. Only weeks before, Amy was seen without her ring. Phil's spokesperson had described her support as extraordinary, graceful, and unwavering. The statement said she continued to stand beside him through their 35-year relationship and believed people should be judged not only by their failures, but by what they do to make things right. Those were carefully chosen words released in the middle of a growing scandal. The statement presented a family holding together under pressure. It framed Phil as a man working to become the husband and father his family deserved. It asked the public to respect a boundary between a famous golfer's public life and the private matters affecting his family. Then came the photograph. Amy, walking through an ordinary day without the symbol that had represented that marriage for nearly 3 decades. It does not prove a separation, anger, or that Amy has changed her position, but it creates a contradiction the public cannot ignore. How does a statement of unwavering love sit beside an empty ring finger only weeks later? There are several possible answers, and none has been confirmed. The simplest explanation is that the ring means nothing. Amy may not wear it every day. It could have been removed, resized, cleaned, or left at home. A single photograph cannot reveal intent. The second possibility is that the timing reflects emotional strain without signaling the end of the marriage. Supporting someone does not mean being unaffected by what surrounds them. A person can remain committed while also being hurt, exhausted or determined to create distance from a public controversy, and then there is the possibility driving the headlines, that the missing ring was not accidental at all, that it was a quiet message, not a divorce announcement, not a confirmation. Just a boundary delivered without words at a moment when every word would become a headline. The problem is that Amy has not explained it, and when a famous family goes silent during a scandal, the vacuum becomes the story. Phil's silence has changed the way this controversy feels. In the past, Mickelson joked, charmed, deflected, or confronted. Even during the chaos surrounding his move to LV Golf, he eventually returned to microphones. This time, the pattern is different. He has remained largely out of view while statements arrive through lawyers and representatives. His schedule has collapsed, and the private family health matter that first explained his absence has not been described in detail, but privacy does not stop speculation, it often intensifies it. The public sees Phil missing from golf. It sees serious allegations reported by multiple outlets. It sees his team issuing denials and accusing journalists of distorting events. It sees Amy described as loyal and supportive, then it sees her without a ring. That sequence makes this more than celebrity gossip. It touches the central question surrounding Phil Mickelson's public life. How much of the image fans knew was real and how much was carefully managed? For years, Phil's appeal came from contradiction. He was polished but unpredictable, beloved but controversial, and willing to challenge golf's most powerful institutions, yet his family remained the stabilizing element, the place the story always returned to. If that foundation is now under strain, the consequences could reach beyond his marriage and into the final chapter of his career. A return to competition would bring questions about the allegations. Continued absence creates questions about whether he intends to return at all, and any visible change involving Amy becomes part of that calculation. Fair or not, Amy Mickelson did not make the allegations. She has not publicly accused her husband of anything. She has not announced a separation. And she should not be treated as evidence in a case simply because a ring was absent from one photograph. But the photograph matters because of timing. It arrived when Phil's team needed the image of family unity. Most, it arrived after a statement that placed Amy's loyalty at the center of his defense. And it arrived while Phil himself remained nowhere to be seen. So the real question is not whether Amy wore a ring during one grocery trip. The real question is what happens the next time she is seen. Does the ring return, making this entire storm look like an overreaction? Does she appear beside Phil, publicly confirming that the marriage remains united? Or does the silence continue while the distance between the official statement and the visible reality becomes harder to explain? For now, there is no confirmed breakup. There is no divorce filing publicly tied to this moment. There is only a photograph, a disputed scandal, and a marriage that has suddenly become part of a story Amy may never have wanted to enter. Phil Mickelson has escaped impossible positions throughout his career, from behind trees, from deep rough, from shots no other player would attempt. But this is not a golf shot. There is no club he can pull to make the allegations disappear. No gallery roar can drown out the questions. And there is no guarantee that the person beside him, through every previous crisis, will remain in exactly the same place. The missing ring may mean nothing, or it may be the first visible sign that the most important partnership of Phil Mickelson's life has reached, a point even his famous short game cannot save. Until Amy speaks, nobody outside the family truly knows, but after this photograph, everybody will be watching.